Good morning, beautiful business mums. I hope you're all well, and welcome to my Facebook Live. Hello Ali, if you're listening. Thanks so much for inviting me along to do a Facebook Live. Today I want to talk to you about creating a successful marketing partnership. They're becoming more and more popular. I'm seeing so many more of them being undertaken on social media. And I see some great ones, but I also see a lot of failures, and I see a lot of people jumping into marketing partnerships without understanding a few basic rules. So I thought for those of you that might be interested in doing a partnership, or have maybe had a failed one in the past and aren't really sure why it failed, and maybe are concerned that you don't want to do it again because it was a waste of your time and you didn't get a return on the time and investment, that I'll share a few tips with you. There are a few pitfalls. They're fairly easy to overcome if you follow some basic rules, and I'm going to take you through those. Okay, so I've broken these down into a few steps. So first of all is identifying, are you partner ready? Now, what do I mean by partner ready? It sounds odd, but a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to use a marketing partnership. I'm going to promote this great giveaway with another business and we're going to sell hundreds and thousands of them. That might be your goal, and that's absolutely fine as a goal, but are you prepared for that increase in sales? Do you have a social media in place to do that? Do you have the shopping cart on your website? You know, have you got everything to cope with that? Can you cope with increased deliveries if that's your aim, if you want to sell more products? If it's about generating more leads, can you cope with new leads coming in? Because if leads come in and you don't reply to them, or you take a week to reply to them, you're likely to lose them, and your customer service levels will drop, and that can affect you and your brand. So there's lots of considerations before you go into a partnership, and make sure you are ready to undertake it. And you have to come back to, we'll come back to this point a little bit later on, because when you decide the actual format of the partnership, that's when you want to go through it step by step and think, have I got this? Have I got that? Am I ready? Okay, the second one is to understand what you have to offer to a partnership. What are your assets? And this doesn't have to mean that you've got 10,000 followers on Instagram. My entire business is built on partnerships, and I don't have 10,000 Instagram followers. In fact, I don't have a massive social media presence because that's not part of my marketing strategy. It can be, don't get me wrong. If your business is built around Facebook and Instagram, then that's great, in social media. But consider what your assets are. And an asset could be that you've got a great team of people with specific skills. Your skills can be will be an asset. It might be that you've got some premises that could be of use to somebody. It could be that your customer service is second to none and gets fantastic reviews and has a reputation for it. They are all assets, things that you're either recognised for, services that you can deliver, particular resources that you have. Consider them all, that they can all be an asset. Okay, so once you've identified your assets and what you could offer, you then want to consider the sorts of partners that you would want to partner with. And this is very important. Some people can be very quick to think, I want the partner with the biggest social media following. I want the partner with the strongest brand, who's been established for a lot longer than I have. And they always think bigger than themselves is better than themselves. And that's not always the case. You could have a very small startup as a partner. Equally, you could go big with a big partner. There are pros and cons to both. And what you also don't need to be tempted to do is to partner with a friend, because you are more likely to skip steps and overlook things and forgive things with a friend than if you have a purely business relationship with them. If you know that you can have that business relationship with a friend, then that's great. But I know a lot of people would struggle. So it's not always about finding the biggest, best partner, and it's always be wary of partnering with friends and people that you know. And on that point, finding your partner, it has to be a win-win. A partnership will break down if you admire the other person so much that you feel inferior to them. It can also break down if you feel that the other person should have more than you because they're bigger and better than you, and they demand more of you, and you give in to that because you don't want to lose this relationship with this big brand. It has to be fair, because if it's not, it's unlikely to succeed. You will be left feeling disgruntled and annoyed, and it's unlikely to yield the returns that you expect. And the other person will walk away with everything, and you're left with nothing. So it's got to be fair and equal. And the only way you can create fairness and equality is talking through exactly what you both want to achieve, and going back to the earlier steps is understanding your assets. What is your value? What can you bring to the party? Then you're going to want to consider what type of partnership you want to create. And there are so many different types of partnerships. It doesn't have to be a straightforward marketing partnership. I'm going to talk about marketing partnerships today, but it could be that it's a partnership with a charity, so a cause partnership. It could be a content partnership. It could be an affiliate relationship. There's so many different types of partnerships out there. As I say, I'm just going to talk about very simple marketing partnerships. And then once you've agreed that, then it's about agreeing what the partnership's going to be, documenting it all, and finally reviewing and measuring. But I'm going to just take you through a couple of the steps that I feel are the most important. Not saying that they're not all important, but I haven't got time to go through everything today. So if you've checked about your partner readiness and you understand your assets and what you can offer, the next thing you want to do is, when you're identifying your partners, is do your homework. And what I mean here is start scouting them out. Start nosing around, trolling them, following them, looking at their website, looking at their social media. So if you want to do a shared giveaway, for example, on social media, you want to be checking out what they're doing on social media now, what's working for them. Are they consistent on social media? Have they got good engagement? Very easy to check. So if you see that there's big gaps in their posting and they don't post for a week and then all of a sudden they're prolific, that would suggest some inconsistencies and it might not be the right partner for you. Have a look at their website. You know, does their website work? Is it slow loading? Is it up to date? You know, lots of information you can gather about somebody as to the quality and suitability of a partner for you. You might want to check their LinkedIn profile, see what they're doing on there and learn a little bit more about them. You might want to actually be a customer of them. So obviously without announcing that you might want to approach them as a partnership, you might just want to buy from them or test their service out, because ultimately you need to ensure that whoever you partner with aligns with your brand. And if when you buy from this partner you don't receive great customer service, for example, or the quality of what you receive is not what you expected, that might not be the right partner for you, and it might not align with your brand. So if you've got a high-end product with high-end clients and clients with high expectations, and you test this service out and it doesn't deliver to your standards, then you may not want to build a relationship with them and allow your customers to think that you're associated with them in some way when they deliver a poor service, because ultimately that will reflect badly on you. Even though they're shopping from them, you've still announced them, you've still shared them, you've still endorsed them. So be very careful with that. Really do your homework. If you don't know much about the business, really do follow them for a while, interact with them. And when you're considering a first partnership with a new partner, do not jump in with both feet first. Test a partnership at a very low level. Don't commit, well, hopefully don't commit any finances, and really do all of your homework before you jump into them. Make sure they're a right fit before you even open up discussions. And there's no shame in walking away if actually during the discussions and when you're working out what the partnership is, that you want to back out of it because it's not right. You've got to have a very open and honest conversation with them. And if you can't have that from the beginning, again, I'd suggest that's probably not the right partner for you. So I'll use an example of a partner I have who's a graphic designer. I knew that I couldn't afford an in-house designer at the time. And so I needed a reliable brand identity and graphic designer that I could use with my clients. And the key word here was reliable and also quality. And I probably tested 2 or 3 designers before I found the right one for me and my clients that would deliver to my standards, that was reliable, that was at the right price point, and had the reputation that I could rely on. And that's worked, and you know, we've partnered for the last 2-3 years. But I did my homework, and I didn't jump in. So I would test them on my own design work first and not risk my clients' expectations by using a designer that then didn't deliver. Okay, so other things you can look at when you're scouting out a partner: look at their reviews and any testimonials. You might want to speak to some of their previous customers and people that they work with, get a real feel for them. And the next bit I want to talk about is when you open up the conversation with them and say, you know, I think there might be some opportunities for us to partner here, is again, during that open, honest conversation, is don't be afraid to write down and document. Now this is really important. It doesn't have to be a legal document. You've not got to get a solicitor to check it over, but you've both got to be very clear on what each person is going to deliver. And in a simple marketing partnership, it's important too. So if you're going to run a joint giveaway or run a competition, you want to write down exactly, step by step, who is going to do what? What are the logistics of this competition? How is it going to work? So what format will it take? Who's going to collect database sign-ups? Who are the prizes coming from? How often are we going to promote? Who are we going to promote to? How often will we share? There's lots of questions around it. And what I tend to do is run through the partnership as a dummy. So I imagine that I'm a customer and I see a post on social media about a competition. What am I going to do next? How do I sign up? How do I find out who the winner is? How do I claim the prize? Who's going to send the prize? Who's going to promote who the winner was and contact them? All those considerations need to be worked out beforehand, because there's nothing worse than starting to run your competition or your giveaway and it suddenly breaks down because one person doesn't promote every day and you expect them to, and you feel as if you're the only one that's promoting. It won't be a win-win, especially if you're both aiming to benefit and if you feel you've done all the work. It will also break down and ruin both of your reputations if the winner isn't announced on time, or the winner doesn't receive their prize, or the prize is not what you've been promoting. There's lots of pitfalls, but if you sit down and map this out and go through it step by step, then you're less likely to make one of these mistakes. alarm bells. I always warn people about alarm bells, and women are quite intuitive, so and especially mums. So if at any point during these early stages an alarm bell rings for you, and that could be that they don't deliver their part of the bargain on time, or they make an excuse about why they can't do something that they'd earlier promised, that might be the warning to you that they aren't the right partner. They're maybe not partner ready. You've done your work and made sure you're partner ready, but they might not be. Do not be afraid to say, actually, I don't think this is the right time. You know, maybe if you go away and do X, Y, Z, we can come back and talk again later. Absolutely no issue in that. You'll potentially save yourself a lot of time and money. And my next point is, during these discussions, you'll want to set review points and targets for it. So if you're going to run this joint competition, you might want to set targets about the number of entries that you would like within a particular time frame. If it's sharing blog content, it might be that you want to set targets about the reach and engagement of the blog. Whatever it is you want to achieve, set yourself some targets and measures, because then at the end you can review whether this was successful. So if you only had 50 entrants and you wanted 100, and you know, reach was poor because one person didn't promote as frequently or whatever, at least you've got that measure in place. You've got the expectation, this is what we expect to achieve. It hasn't happened, now we can look at why it didn't happen. But unless you've documented that and set yourself a target, you can never measure, you can never say to the other person, well, it didn't work because you didn't do such and such, or potentially it was affected by you not doing such and such. You can't do that if that expectation was never documented, and it makes it all very difficult, and you're likely to end up in a bit of a contentious situation. So make sure you're very clear on that. And you might want to set yourself exit rules. Marketing partnerships don't tend to, but it's always worth considering. And by exit rules, I mean, if one person decides that they don't want to continue anymore, what option have they got to exit? Now, if you're in the middle of a competition and one of you decides they're not going to promote it anymore or provide their part of the prize, for example, you'll want to consider what happens if that happens. Obviously, that would be a tough call for someone to do, and you'd quickly realise that they weren't, you know, a genuine person. But it's worth considering the what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? Okay, so that is a really, really quick run through. How long's that taken me? About 17 minutes. But I'll just review the steps very quickly for you again. And then if people have got any questions afterwards, I'm just going to there. If anyone's got any questions afterwards, please let me know. Post it in the bottom. I'm happy to answer. I've created, I've lost count how many partnerships, both for myself and for other businesses, and I always follow these rules myself. Always. I never skip them. Never be tempted to skip over a phase, because it's always the one that's going to trip you up. So first of all, checking, are you partner ready? Second, understand your assets and what you have to offer. What can you bring to the partnership? Next one, start identifying the sorts of partners you would want and doing your homework on those potential partners. Then start considering what type of partnership you want. Is it a marketing partnership? Is it a cause partnership? Is it affiliate relationship? What type of partnership do you want with that person? The next one is open up the conversation and start mapping out the agreement and how it will all work and all the logistics. And agreeing the deal, and then finally setting your review and measure, and you'll want to obviously review and measure at the end. Okay, that was marketing partnerships very swiftly. As I say, please post any questions you've got. Very happy to answer them if I can. And I look forward to seeing you all in the group. Thanks, guys.